The simple definition of artificial intelligence, or AI, is this. It's the development of software systems that, in a narrowly focused way, simulate specific areas of human intelligence, and for our purposes, we can automate certain actions and activities that we would normally associate with human beings. So artificial intelligence today covers a relatively broad category of technologies. So whenever you hear things like machine learning, deep learning, machine vision, neural networks, robotic process automation, or even natural language processing, you're hearing terms that are associated with AI, even things like chatbots or advanced analytics. All of these areas of development now fall under the broad types of AI use cases, and we'll talk about some of them. Well, firstly, it's important to understand that AI leverages algorithms to accomplish whatever the tasks or actions or activities are that we want the AI to engage in and complete. Very simply, in the context of AI, an algorithm is a step-by-step procedure for solving a problem or accomplishing a task. So if you keep that in mind, we can think of AI as having really two main categories for our purposes in the conversation today. First of all, we can think of a top-down method where AI is using a deductive approach, using rules and process steps and a highly descriptive algorithm. Now, success with this type of AI requires us to explicitly define what it is we want the AI to do and to accomplish through a process of closely and carefully training that AI. As an example, some of the early AIs that were really good at playing chess and at beating human chess masters, this is the approach that they used, very top-down. Now, the second category, which is becoming more and more useful in business today, is what we can think of as more of a bottom-up approach to AI, where the AI is leveraging an inductive approach and using algorithms that access and use guidelines, parameters, desired outcomes, plus a lot of historical data. And they, in a manner of speaking, are learning from those guidelines or through those guidelines and the data in order to find patterns and to make decisions, make predictions. And these types of AIs can take specific actions in either a supervised or an unsupervised manner. So the second category of AI is where we find systems that we can think of as using contemporary approaches to machine learning. Now, a chatbot, as an example, this is a type of application of an AI that you might have run into or run across, and we'll talk about that. So when we implement machine learning or a chatbot, we're using algorithms and libraries of code from within development toolkits that allow us to structure things like goals and outcomes that we want an AI to achieve. These algorithms and scripts allow us to engage the AIs in a learning process, essentially. They get better as they go through experience, by gathering and becoming exposed to more and more data. This approach allows us to improve outcomes and accuracy in the algorithm or in the AI. At the very highest level, there are two types of AI in use in business today. I like to think of these as, number one, human-assisted AIs, and let's talk about that. This is where a human is involved in assisting and training an AI, especially if the AI encounters problems or patterns that it's never seen before. And then we have AI-assisted humans, where a human can essentially offload work to an AI, sort of like a personal digital assistant for specific tasks that AI has been trained to accomplish. So one of the most common examples of a human-assisted AI can be seen in a lot of different customer service and contact center environments. You've probably come across this type of AI in the form of a chatbot. Maybe you didn't know you were encountering a chatbot. So for example, we could set up a chatbot with secure access to historical customer data, program that AI with appropriate algorithms and scripts, plus we could then give the AI the ability to process natural language text or speech from a customer. So a chatbot like this is used to provide frontline customer service or maybe basic sales activities without the need for actual human customer service agents. Chatbots today are being widely deployed in this way to provide customers with easier, faster, and more accurate access to information, or answer frequently asked questions, or to provide what is called predictive customer routing, so that customers end up engaging with the right human being the first time, and that customer's initial information has all then been passed on through the capture by the chatbot to the human agent. This is an example of using AIs to improve the customer experience and increase productivity of those human agents. So anything where scripts or business rules are being used could be areas where chatbots are useful. Now, an example of AI-assisted humans is where there's a need to analyze potentially huge amounts of data. So for example, in insurance claims, we might want to deploy an AI that has machine learning capabilities, give it access to certain historical information and data, variables about previous, let's say, property insurance claims, to make assessments about whether certain claims that are coming into the system should be paid right away, or maybe there are signs of fraud. This type of AI could effectively be a type of subject matter expert concerning certain types of insurance claims, as the AI seeks to assist, essentially, their human counterparts. The barrier to entry for using machine learning has decreased dramatically over the last few years. In a way, that's what happened several decades ago in the software development space, as libraries and toolkits started to get easier and easier to use. Machine learning has essentially become democratized through the launch of accessible, inexpensive AI development platforms from companies like Microsoft or Google, Amazon, Baidu, Alibaba, IBM, and many others. So AI presents an opportunity to have algorithms or bots perform tasks that humans either don't want to do, or maybe they're not particularly good at doing. And by the way, the AI can perform these tasks at a fraction of the cost, in a fraction of the time that it would take a human being to perform. So better, faster, cheaper. For example, there are AIs today that are great at interpreting one language, the input of that language, and then taking that output into multiple written and spoken languages simultaneously, all of that in real time. Some AIs can essentially perceive environments or situations by using pattern recognition or advanced analytics, and then that algorithm can autonomously take action that will maximize outcomes in those environments. Now, AIs can use machine vision and pattern recognition in things like facial recognition systems or predictive analytics. There are other growing opportunities in robotics for manufacturing facilities, or autonomous vehicles for public transport, or rescue operations, different facial recognition systems for law enforcement and security. Now, almost all of AI's recent progress is through learning that has been supervised by human beings. That's important to understand. Today's AI has an Achilles heel, though. It typically requires access to huge amounts of data in order to be successful in supporting that training process. Now, in the future, there will be greater opportunities for businesses to leverage deep learning and neural networks, which really get closer to functioning more like the generalizable cross-domain intelligence that you see in most primates, like humans, and other animals. These types of AI, they're incredibly complex right now, but they do hold the promise of allowing AIs to make sense of huge amounts of data and to learn without the lengthy investment of all that time in supervised training of the AIs. By using AIs, humans and machines are augmenting one another. They're assisting one another in their various areas of expertise. So artificial intelligence and the associated areas of machine learning, deep learning, machine vision, these all have the potential to allow humans and machines to really evolve and transform into the best versions of themselves. As humans and machines are able to play on the strengths of one another, things will get better as we go along. Things will get stronger in the approaches that we can take with AIs. It's highly likely that humanity itself will be changed by the superintelligence that AIs will demonstrate now, but more importantly, in the future.